मैं मिसेस अंजलि कतेकर इस बड़े से शहर में छोटी सी कंपनी में काम करती हूँ।
Hey, Anjali? Anjali, are you okay?
नहीं, शायद मैं ठीक नहीं हूँ। मैं मिसेस अंजलि कतेकर और ये है मेरी कहानी।
All right, so welcome Anshulika to my space. And before I start asking you questions, I just want to tell you my first impressions of you when I saw you on social media. The first thing that struck me was this absolute ease that you have in your skin, and this kind of very poetic wistfulness, which reminded me of Amrita Pritam and Tagore's heroines. And then I thought, then I kind of discovered as I saw your work, and I realized you were not just the heroine of your own life, you were also an actor, you were a producer, and you had founded a production company called Red Polka Productions. Perhaps because you felt that women need to kind of take control of their narratives and they need to tell stories that haven't been told before or have been told in a way uh, which is unique to you and which is something that needs to be done, something more honestly, more transparently, and very concisely, because these are small films, these are like short films,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
they're not made with big budgets. They are made against great challenges and constraints.
Yeah.
So it's not like these are vanity projects that you're throwing money at. So
No.
but they are made, I think, from what I sense is from within kind of an intention to help women break silence, to heal themselves, to uplift themselves, set themselves free. So tell me a bit about how this whole journey has started for you, and what was the kind of origin of uh, Red Polka Productions like?
First of all, I would like to thank you, Rima. Thank you for inviting me to speak. And it's amazing. In fact, when I discovered you on social media, I'm amazed by your writing. I'm completely in love with what you write. And I think I've written that to you as well.
This is about you. So let's.
So, yeah. So yeah, Red Polka Productions, as you rightly said, it was a seed, which was kind of because I have my own stories to say. I have stories which I feel. I have stories which I want to put forward to the world. Yeah, what is best than bringing your own platform and doing it instead of going and compromising it and working with people who might not understand the intensity you are carrying with those stories. So yeah, with that regards, Red Polka was kind of born. And yeah, it's a very indie production house where as you rightly said, there is no fancy budgets. We work on very, very tight budgets and getting things together, and I think that's the fun part. That's why we feel for each project and we patiently push each project to reach to its potential, because we know how much hard work and how much effort it goes to make something like that. And yeah, so that was the the idea behind Red Polka, and that's what I'm carrying with it.
And films like The Good Wife and Just Another Day, and these are films which kind of very bravely explore themes like domestic violence. They talk about these toxic molds that women are supposed to be in and not come out of. And tell me a bit about, obviously there's no commercial, uh, there are no expectations of commercial returns from these films, but yet you have kind of blazed a trail, if I may say so, for indie filmmakers and shown them that there is future for films like that. Because now if I remember correctly, The Good Wife is on Hotstar, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. It's on Hotstar. Yeah.
And both films have kind of gone, abroad to multiple film festivals. They've won great accolades. And with the so little you started with, and the world is now kind of watching your stories and applauding you, and you have won awards. How has that been? Do you feel vindicated, and how does that make you feel? And tell me a little about the latest film that is doing now the festival circuit and winning awards.
Yeah. So see, the vision, as I said, was always not about just making a film and putting it on YouTube, and or as in this world of cinema, until you are commercially successful or you are there, people really don't take you seriously, and they think, "ठीक है, कुछ भी hobby के लिए कर रहे हैं." Short film is like a hobby for people. There's like, "अच्छा, hobby के लिए बना लिया है short film." But we at Red Polka, the team, what we have, thankfully, they're an amazing team I have who always believed in the vision what we have. We never had this vision of, ठीक है, एक film बना के छोड़ दिया है, now और कुछ और करते हैं, नहीं कुछ और करते हैं. And it's not how we thought of. We had this vision that when we are making a film, it is a voice, and it has to reach to its potential. It has to go around the world. So if you see, Good Wife has been to 26 national international festivals and has won almost 13 awards, and has been almost to 8 to 10 countries. I would say that's a big win for someone like me, who is not a fancy face, like not a very known face, or someone who's not not working on very fancy budgets or getting things, getting any lobbies in and stuff and all. It was purely on the basis of the merit. It has been there. So as you said, we never felt that it's a short film. If you see, even the way Good Wife has been shot, we actually traveled outstation. We went to Kolkata. We went to interiors of Kolkata near Shanti Niketan, and we shot that film, So we never took it as something which is a short film, theek hai, bana liya types. We always took that as a project, which when a audience is watching, it's worth the time. Okay. Second, yes, the voice, the topic, or which was very important, So yeah, it has to reach. And as I said, as you rightly said, both the films talk about a very important women social issue. And just another day, the film what recently we have announced about 7 months back is about domestic violence, and it touches on a topic which is again not very spoken about, is violence during pregnancy, which is a very vulnerable time for a woman, and at that time, losing a child because of the domestic violence, what a woman goes through, and then how society is so nonchalant about that, how society how instead of pulling her out, push her more in. So again, when I make films like these, my whole idea is to start a dialogue. Like when I'm talking to you right now, it's about starting the dialogue. We say that we are very developed, modernized society now. We are very urbanized, and we stay in these very modern thought process, and things like this used to happen some 20, 30 years back, and it doesn't happen. But that's not the truth. That's not the stats. So where are we as a country? Or where are we as a society? So I think these are the ideas behind it, and Just Another Day speaks about that in a very subtle way. Again, we when we make films, it is all, we don't give you that this is right or this is wrong and all. We leave it on the audience. We plant that seed of thought in your mind, and how you want to perceive it and take it forward from there. That's the idea. And I think cinema has a huge impact. I think we should be very responsible when we are making cinema, that what we are giving out to our audiences, because as you know, drama was started as a movement. Cinema is also a movement. So I think that's what the whole idea of my this journey
Has been.
of continuing. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The characters that you've played are of women who are still kind of figuring their stories out. They're still figuring
Yeah.
their lives out. But when I see you, I see someone who's got it sorted, who knows what she wants from a personal life, who knows what she wants creatively. And so, how do you find these women inside you? I mean, how do you, as an actor, I mean, what are these places that you have to go into to find these women and their vulnerabilities, their fears, and because they're very introverted women. They are women who are like trapped within their own conditioned mindsets and all the oppression that surrounds them. For somebody like you who is out there doing your thing, for you to find these women inside you, how challenging is that? And what's the process like?
Uh, what you see me today is very different. I mean, there's been a transformation, yes. So as an actor, see, of course, my experiences, I am a very observant person, and I have been through different experiences in my life, which kind of triggers, when I have to play a character, which I know that, okay, this is the character. And so when just another day was given to me, the script was given to me, the first emotion I felt was pain. You know, the first emotion I felt was pain because I'm a mother myself. And so when I talk about, when that script was given and when it talks about abuse during pregnancy, the first emotion was, what, child, losing a child? And being a mother, it's instantly I was able to connect with the character because I know how it feels losing a child. And I think every time when I look for the character, I also played a very, I have also actually played a lot of good, strong characters on stage. So I did Rabindranath's Chitrangada on stage. Uh, yeah. So whenever these characters are given to me, I think, as you said, I search them inside through the experiences I've been in. So I think all those experiences of mine, I carry it with me. And when these characters which are given to me, it kind of triggers inside me, and I know exactly how the. And also, I think it's the mind. I think the character from the mind, so I know how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, as an artist, I think you have a lot of empathy. An artist has to be sensitive and has to have empathy. I think you have a great deal of
Yeah.
empathy for
Yeah.
pain around you, probably, and you
Yeah.
identify very deeply
Yeah.
with it. So,
Yeah.
also, you've spoken about your team and especially your synergy with Pratyay Saha. And how did you guys decide to work together? And tell me a little bit about that.
So me and Pratyay, actually, we met, I think in 2016. We met. He that time he was working. He's a business analyst, and he was he was starting to explore filmmaking. He's been a photographer, but he was starting to explore filmmaking, and he's made some short films. And then so he got in touch with me, and he's like, I have a short film, and I wanted you to work in that. So that's how we started working. And then so once we started doing that short film, we realized the vision of both of us, like it's kind of, there is a synergy. We want to do certain things which is like very, very similar and stuff and all. And that's when we decided that let's go ahead and do a. So he also wanted to direct a theater play, and that's when he said that, why don't we get together and do this? And I said, see, anyways, I was thinking of having my own platform, so would you be interested to join this? And this is what my vision is. And he said, absolutely, let's go ahead and do it. And that's how yeah. And I think it's success is all about how you are as good as your team. So I think it's very important to have those kind of human resources with you, who completely believes in you.
Don't you feel kind of incredulous at times? Because I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, that you had any background in production, any, in kind of running a company like this. And here you are, you're helming a company which is winning awards internationally. I mean, do you look back and wonder how you did it? And perhaps you chose something that so deeply resonated with you that kind of things have happened along the way. Do you feel that sometimes?
Um, I mean, I do have a background because I am coming from a corporate world. So I used to work in a corporate world, and organizational skills were my was kind of my strength. And after that, I also had my own party company where I used to organize theme-based birthday parties and different kind of parties. Like, so yeah, I had a little background, but as you said, production company, I had no background at all. But since I'm from theater, and theater, kind of grounds you and makes you ready and tells you that okay, you're not just an actor, you are also a back. So I started theater with backstage. So I have done backstage for a long, long time. I even do backstage now, and I love doing backstage. And I think that's where my, I would say, my organizational skills of taking everyone together and working, kind of came. And that's really like immensely helped me when I started Red Polka, because it is, as I said, it's all about teamwork, getting people together, and creating a project like that. So I think organizational skills was something which really helped me with this, taking this company forward and like this production house forward. And I just hope that I'm able to produce more and more good creative content.
Like, do you have any early cinematic memories of watching female protagonists in cinema or watching certain female actors, and any one moment where you said, oh, I want to be an actor and I want to tell stories? Do you have any kind of a memory of a moment like that or characters like that you resonated with?
See, my dad was a big film buff, So my dad, every new film he used to go and watch, but we were not allowed to go to the cinema hall. Kids were not allowed. So my entire family, my mom, dad, my aunt, uncle, everybody used to go, and we were all left with our dadi at home. And they used to go and watch films. But and my dad also had a very musical taste. He used to play all those old Hindi songs and all that stuff. So I think from there I picked up. So I used to play on those tape recorders initially with. So from there I think I picked up this liking towards music, and then slowly towards cinema. But I remember the first film I watched was Chandani. Yeah, the first film on theater I watched was big screen was Chandani. And after that I think we used to have VCRs at home. We used to watch one film, or like sometimes that Sunday films used to come in all. But if I would say female protagonist, as such, I have too many. Madhuri Dixit. I am a big fan of Madhuri Dixit. I think I was in fact talking today that some of her. I think because I'm also a dancer, and I've started. I always used to say, that most of his songs, and I used to dance, and I used to say that. Yeah, I think that was the time when I realized that I want to do this. I because as you asked, I cannot pinpoint one. There were so many. There were so many different kind of films which has actually uh, kind of made me what I am today. But Madhuri Dixit has a huge, I had a huge crush on her and a huge impact on me and what I am today. I used to dress up like her. I used to do all her songs, and and I used to look at her face and her expressions and all that stuff. But later on, obviously, I watched a lot of Meena Kumari, Madhubala, Smita Patil, Shivana Azmi. I watched this film of Shivana Azmi.
Nishant.
Nishant. That really affected me. Like till now, also I get goosebumps seeing that film. Earth. again, Earth, Masoom. These are some films, which really, really affected me. And then, yes, then I actually realized that cinema is not just about glamour. It is also about a lot of other things. And yeah, so, and that slowly kind of changed my whole attitude towards, films. And I started then internalizing a lot of stuff. Um, but thankfully, I got this opportunity of being here where I am, though I am coming from a background which was completely a different background. Nobody ever in my family or have thought about that I'm going to go and do stage or films, because there's no background as such in my family like that. But yeah, but my yeah, it was.
First thing I wanted to ask you, because see, you've done things which you were not expected to do. And a
Yeah.
lot of times women are kind of weighed down by what they're expected to do. And with you, there's no putting you in one box and say, oh, she's this or she's that. You're so many things, you're doing so many things, and you have no fear, which I find to be very refreshing and very surprising, because so many of us, live with the fear of, expectations, of failure, of, putting ourselves out there, or claiming too much space or whatever it is. But you seem to have figured that bit. I have to chase my dreams. I have to go for the stars, and I don't really care about judgment. But tell me some of the experiences that you may have had where you were also judged, and maybe on a film set, maybe in a social situation, for all the things that you're doing, and how you coped with something like that.
A lot of places, actually. A lot of places I've been judged. I still, I'm still a little. I have a little social anxiety when I go and speak to a lot of people. Actually, as you correctly said, I feel too much. I'm an empath. I feel really too much. I'm very sensitive. If someone tells me something, it really stays with me for a long, long time. So when I mean, obviously from childhood, because I was born again in an environment where I always felt, that I have to, there's something missing, and I have to do. I always felt very trapped. Although it's not that my environment was toxic or abusive or something like that. I was completely in a very protective and pampered shell. But somehow, having everything around me, I always used to feel there is more that I want. And in that chase, I used to do certain things, which is not approved by people around me. And, then I was pulled down, and I was told that, you are wrong, and that's not how it is done. And then I used to like really feel that, am I a black sheep of the family? I'm not following what others are doing, because there were so many other cousins and kids of mine who were like, were completely doing what was told to them and disciplined. And I mean, I was like, I always used to have something very different. I was a very curious child, I used to go out and do things which others would not do it. And so I used to feel like, am I something wrong with me and stuff and all. So I was judged a lot of times. In fact, in school also, um, a lot of time I used to question certain things, which then I used to be shut down, that no, you're not supposed to. And in professional environment, oh, completely, the industry we are in, and completely have been judged. Sometimes I have been told that when I've asked for scripts, that okay, give me some scripts, and what I have to prepare and stuff. I was given the script, but I was also told, madam, don't worry about your acting and all. You have to look good. So if my worth is considered on the basis of how I look, I mean, I am sorry, but I'm not saying all of them are like that. These are instances. Being a mother, I have been judged so much because I'm in industry, and I've been told so many times that, oh, you're going for a night shoot, then who's going to take care of your child? Oh, how this industry is, you should be careful. You have a daughter. And oh, you wear these kind of dresses, there are so many things. And I mean, I was a very thin child when I was very young, when I was young, and I was always told that, oh, you don't eat anything, you look malnourished. So everything, it's been there. And those are the things that still kind of have in my mind. So, so I think we, as women, have been conditioned, as you said, to look in a certain way, to behave in a certain way, to present yourself in a certain way. And when someone breaks that, you kind of become a rebel. You kind of become a bad woman, So,
Because it's
yes.
all about the optics. It's all about the optics. The optics have.
Yeah. So I think, but now I feel, as I told you in the starting, I think there's a transformation. I don't feel myself as a black sheep anymore. I think I'm the golden sheep.
Good for you. And this is what I wanted to know also, because like you filmed, your life is also a little bit about, breaking free, and finding your own voice and finding your own truth. And it's never easy for women. And some of us have to pay a lot of price, kind of a big price for being our own people, whether it's going through some pain and healing from it. So tell me your process, bouncing back from setbacks, bouncing back from judgment, healing yourselves, doing self-care, because women are not taught that. Women are not taught self-care. So how do you do that when something really traumatic happens?
Trauma. So initially, I never. So I lost my dad at a very young age. So I think trauma. I did not realize that I was in trauma for a long time. I was carrying that trauma around with me, and which kind of made me very angry and bitter at some point of time in my life. And then and it kind of took me away from what I was. But there is always this, as you said, break free moment when you realize that there is something wrong, and there is something you need to change, and there has to be something, transformative in your life. And I'm still healing though, but I would say there was this process where that's where my art actually helped me a lot. I explored so much inside me, and I never knew that I have certain things inside me. I started writing. I'm so scared of even talking, like even expressing myself when I talk, because there is so much runs in my head, but when I put it out, I can't put it out properly. And so I think what I started realizing, and thankfully I have a great support system in my home. My husband and my in-laws have been a great support to me, encouraging. It's when I realized that I am in this protected shield, and I can actually now work on myself rather than working on everyone else. Before that, because when my father expired, I am the eldest, I am and I had two younger brothers, and I suddenly took everything on me. I never even realized that I suddenly became guardian to everyone. And the whole protective field, which was there up, it went off. And so I don't know why I'm sharing this with you, but I just felt like sharing it. But, and then I was like, I became so authoritative. I became so, as I said, so bitter and angry about things. But then when I came to this family, and I kind of settled in this family, and I realized that no, there is the support system which I have, which universe has given it to me. I should be grateful of what I have, and that's when my healing journey started. And I think my art really helped me in that. And that's when my expression comes, when I dance or I sing or I act. I mean, it's completely a healing space for me. and and that's why I'm fearless when I do that.
Yeah.
I'm really, really fearless.
To ask you that also, because for women, to find time to just be creative, to have a kind of a creative catharsis, it's so many times women just push away their hobbies or their passions aside to tend to their families. So you think it's very important to have a creative outlet for women? Before I let you go, I want to ask one more question, and then I let you go.
Creative outlet to women, I feel women should definitely have time of her own, whatever she wants to do in that time. But an hour or a half an hour or whatever time in a day should be her own in whatever way she wants. And I think creative outlet, art expression is a part of us. We are born with that creativity, all of us. We as we all must have read that before talking we rhyme it, we sing it, we dance before walking. So I think art is inside us and we just have to explore it. And I think, yes, everyone, not just women, I think everyone should have that outlet of their own. And being a feminine energy, I think creativity is inside you. So explore that. Yeah.
I said women because they don't get usually the time or the freedom to explore their passions, and it's sad because so many of them just get trapped in this whole routine and everything. Tell me a little bit. Last question about your future projects. What's happening next?
So yeah, so just another days anyways going on. I am still hoping that we start more dialogues on that and do. Because of the pandemic, we are not able to tour with the film, which we did it with Good Wife and had a very good dialogue. So maybe if we are able to do some online dialogues and do a little bit more tour with the film. Besides that, I am working on a story for theater now. So I'm writing something. And as I said, I explored suddenly that I can write, and that's when I've been writing a few few poetries and different just stories and stuff, and that's what I'm doing. But I'm working on a play right now, and there's also another script which is being worked on. So let's see what we are going to come up with. Yeah.
So glad to see your journey and so proud of you. I've never met you in person, but it feels like I have, in so many different ways, just following your work and seeing your, this beautiful spirit that you carry and imbue in everything that you do. So more power to you. And I hope to see many, many more beautiful milestones ahead. And
thank you so much, Reema. Because of this encouragement, we are able to do what we are doing.
You would there's no stopping you. So I have no illusions that you need this. You don't. We do. So we need creative people to create more art in these times. We all need it so much. So thank you for doing that for us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Hi guys, I hope you like this unboxed conversation with Reema, and my name is Anshlika Kapoor, and if you want to watch much more content here, so please do like and subscribe and ring that bell icon. Thank you.